What's up YouTube? It's your old school expert, and today we are continuing with our trip down memory lane with Magic Ruler, the complete set of Magic Ruler. We're going to go through it and check out some of the awesome nostalgia that comes with one of the greatest sets ever produced. So Magic Ruler came out around September of 2002. And Magic Ruler did a lot to change the game. Magic Ruler introduced a ton of powerful Magic cards, a lot of great equip cards, and lots of different strategies. So we're gonna go through that, enjoy it, and just kind of have fun here. So obviously Blue Eyes Toon, Magic Ruler introduced the Toon cards. So Blue Eyes Toon was the secret rare, the hobby secret rare, the 0001. Acts of Despair was actually one of the best cards in the set at the time because it instantly boosted your monster by 1,000 attack points, which was huge back then. Equip cards, until this set came out, equip cards were almost non-existent in competitive play. Nobody really used them, but this set introduced a whole bunch of really good ones. So Black Pennant gave it 500 attack points, plus when it went to the graveyard, your opponent lost 500 life. And what was nice about the equips is that, oh, sorry about the camera there, is that the equip cards, they could be used on pretty much anything. They didn't just have to be on one specific monster as they had with previous sets. Metal Raiders had some generic equips, but they weren't very good. But Magic Ruler introduced equip cards that you could equip to any monster, and it gave it a good boost, and they were just good cards. So Malevolent Nuzzler was kind of the poor man's Axe of Despair. It gave your monster 700 attack points. And when it went to the graveyard, you could pay 500 life points and put it back, I think, on top of your deck. And Axe of Despair, to put this back on top of your deck when it went to the graveyard, you could do that if you wanted to, but you had to tribute a monster. So it was a pretty high cost, but sometimes it was worth it to get that back on top of your deck and draw it during your next draw phase. Spellbinding Circle was awesome. It wasn't used too much in competitive play, but it was a very cool card, especially because Spellbinding Circle is the artwork behind the in the background of Exodia for the TCG Exodia. So that's really awesome. It's a beautiful card in my opinion, and it's one of the coolest cards, again in my opinion, in Magic Ruler. Electric Snake was a pretty good card. Not really used when Magic Ruler came out, but during like GOAT format and stuff, or just in Chaos format, pretty much anything that had hand destruction, Electric Snake was pretty good. Moving on, we got some a lot of commons on this page, but we do have a Maha Velo, which was, speaking of equip Magic cards, for every equip card equipped to him, he gains 500 attack. So that was kind of nice. You equip an Axe of Despair, and he actually gains 1,500 attack, which back then was a really big deal. That put him over 3,000 attack. Another page of mostly commons. We also have a rare Hero Shadow Scout, not really used that much. Invader of the Throne was kind of a cool card. I like the artwork on it. It looks kind of, it's very purple, I guess. I don't know, I like the color purple. Got a Weather Report. I think that has something to do with like Swords of Revealing Light. Like you flip it and I think you destroy all Swords of Revealing Light or something weird like that. It's just a weird card. There are a lot of weird commons in this set. Not too many great commons, but the set did introduce Relinquish to the game, which was a game changer. Relinquish decks were very strong, very powerful, because they would steal your opponent's monsters and equip them to Relinquished to power him up. And then if they attacked Relinquished, the monster equipped would go to the graveyard, but Relinquished wouldn't go to the graveyard yet. He would have to be attacked and destroyed when he's not equipped with another monster. So that was a really, really good card, and it was a ritual, so it was easy to summon because it was only one level. So any monster that you sacrifice would be good enough to summon Relinquished. Curse of Fiend is one of those cool cards because until they errated it many years later, this is the only card that allowed a card to be in face down attack position because it's just super weird. I mean, I never saw it happen during a duel. But then there's Upstart Goblin. This card wasn't really used when this set came out. This was not considered a good card because your opponent gained 1,000 life points, and it's a +0 essentially because you use it, so you draw a card, but then it goes to the graveyard, so you get a card, but you lose a card. So it wasn't that great. These days, obviously, it's a very, very good card. It's good for thinning out your deck, and I believe that's why it's at 1. Gravekeeper Servant, that's one of the short prints. I think Curse of Fiend is also a short print. Moving on, this page has some really nice stuff. Kind of the reason they call it Magic Rulers because the Magic cards obviously are so powerful, and a couple of those are on this page. Snatch Steal was like a permanent change of heart, but only for face-up monsters, but it was a very good card. Snatch Steal, you could tribute the monster, and then your opponent doesn't gain the 1,000 because it's an equip. So as soon as the monster that you stole from your opponent goes to the graveyard, Snatch Steal goes to the graveyard. It was susceptible to Mystical Space Typhoon or Heavy Storm, but it was just an incredible card. And actually, I remember when it first came out, not too many people were using it, but like give it like a couple of weeks, and then you saw this in every deck. People soon realized this was one of the best cards in the entire set. And it's even banned today as of this filming. So the next card, Confiscation. It's actually one of those cards, like the foiling is really hard to see. Only the guy is foil with his little armor, but everything else is not foil. So it's kind of an easy foil to miss if you're opening packs and don't know that that's not a common. But this is one of the greatest cards in the set. You pay 1,000 life points, look at your opponent's hand, and discard a card. So that's pretty impressive. And then, of course, Delinquent Duo, you discard 2 cards from your opponent's hand. Pretty amazing card as well. And all 3 of these are still banned today. Fairy's Hand Mirror is actually a short print, so is Tailor of the Fickle. Rush Recklessly saw some play because your opponent would attack your monster, and then you, as a quick play, you use Rush Recklessly, and then suddenly your monster is 700 attack points higher, and your opponent's monster usually dies at that point. Forceful Sentry, again, same with Confiscation and Delinquent Duo. It's just a really nice hand destruction card. You don't pay anything for it. You get to see your opponent's hand, which is huge, and then you get to shuffle a card back into their deck. Just insane. Such a good card. And then Mystical Space Typhoon. This was a staple for many, many, many years beyond this set. Mystical Space Typhoon was one of the best Magic and Trap destruction cards out there. It was just a simple 1-for-1. And it was a quick play, so you could use it on your opponent's turn. It was just an incredible card. Another card that is still banned, obviously Forceful Sentry is banned. Painful Choice is also banned from competitive play today because it is just an insanely broken card. It is so good. You choose 5 cards from your deck, your opponent takes one of them, puts it in your hand, the other 4 cards go to the graveyard. That's absolutely nuts, and it would be so used and abused in today's meta that there's no way that'll come back without an errata. There's just no way. Black Illusion Ritual to get your Relinquished Tau. Giant Trinade, another banned card, because there's a lot of combos with it, especially with like Premature Burial. I'm sure there's lots of other combos, but that was one of them. So you could like Premature, get a card out, and then use Giant Trinade. Premature goes back to your hand, but the monster stays there. Then use Premature again, get another monster from your graveyard. So it's kind of, you could combo that with other different cards, especially today's game. Like there's lots of different links and stuff like that that would abuse that tremendously. Let's see. Megamorph, that was a really nice card. That was a very, very cool card. You summon Jinzo. Obviously, Jinzo came out in the set after this, but this was really good with Jinzo because you knew you weren't going to face a Mirror Force or anything like that. But this was just a great card to surprise your opponent and beat him down. Yeah, I mean, you just summon anything you want, like a Lodge-In or a 7-colored fish, and then you equip Megamorph. If you're losing, then it's doubled the attack if you have lower life points than your opponent. So you're looking at 3,600 attacker, which could easily hit for game. So that was a really good card. Labyrinth Wall is kind of cool. It's and Wall Shadow from the anime. This is not a very good card, Horn of the Unicorn. At first look, you might think so because after it goes to the graveyard, it actually goes back on top of your deck for no cost. Gives your monster 700 attack and defense when equipped, but it keeps going back to the top of your deck. So if you don't want to draw this, you don't have a choice, and it gets really old really fast. I remember using it, and after like 2 duels, I was like, I'm never using this card again. Here's some random little rituals. Some of my favorite cards in this set are the crappy rituals like Crab Turtle and Hungry Burger. That's just a ridiculous card. I don't know where they came up with that. It's just, wow. And then Hamburger Recipe is what you would use to summon it, and then Turtle Oath you would use for Crab Turtle. Just silly cards, really silly cards. Mangaria was the only Toon monster that was not holographic. It was just a rare. And speaking of Toons, we've got all the good Toon stuff here besides Blue Eyes Toon on this page. So you got Toon Mermaid and Toon Summon Skull. Those are, of course, they go with Toon World. So these older Toons require Toon World to be on the field. They can't, I think they have to have Toon World on the field to even summon them. And then, of course, for this, you would have to actually tribute a monster, even though it's considered a special summon. With Toon World on the field, you would still have to tribute a monster. And they just weren't very good. They were kind of slow. They can't attack the first turn they come out. They can attack directly if your opponent doesn't have any Toons. But I mean, they just, as soon as you destroy Toon World, these get destroyed as well. So they were never really useful in competitive dueling, but they're super cool. Pegasus used them, and they were just awesome. And then you got Hyozanru, which was used by Kaiba in the anime. Pretty sweet card. Cyberjar, still banned today. It's just a nutty card. It's just, it should be called Chaos Jar, because as soon as that flips, it's utter chaos. Got Spear Cretin, pretty cool card, I think. Nibble Momonga saw a lot of play for many years. Shining Angel, of course. All the similar cards like this that when they're destroyed by a battle, they get a card of their attribute. For the Shining Angel, it's light. With 1500 or less attack, special summon to the field. So it's pretty good. UFO Turtle gets fires. Mother Grizzly gets water. Kamakiri gets wind. And then Mystic Tomato was the best one because it got darks. And as you guys know, most monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh! Are dark type or a dark attribute. It's just the most popular one. And then you got the field spells, which are really cool, or field magic cards as they were back then. So you got Gaia Power. What these do is they increase the attack of all monsters of that attribute by 500, and their defense decreases by 400. So Gaia Power is for Earth, Umiruka for Water, Molten Destruction for Fire, Rising Air Current, Luminous Spark, and Mystic Plasma Zone. Round out the Air, Light, and Dark. And these are all short prints. All these field magic cards are short prints. Messenger of Peace is actually still a decent card. It's just such a blanket kind of floodgate. Obviously, it's susceptible because it's a continuous spell. It's susceptible to destruction or, you know, being sent to the graveyard or whatever. But anything over 1500 attack cannot attack. So it really is kind of a floodgate, just big beat stopper. And was used in all kinds of burn decks and things like that for many years. And then Serpentine Dragon, I always wondered why they made that a secret, but I don't know. They made a lot of cards that weren't very good secret rares. It's still a really cool looking secret in my opinion. It's really awesome. So that is Magic Ruler. In my opinion, strategically, especially for its time, one of the best sets ever. It had a lot of broken cards. As you see, I think there are like 5 or so cards in here that are still on the ban list today. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. As you notice, maybe all the binders are color-coded to the set. So we got green binder for Magic Ruler. Hope you all enjoyed it. And as always, stay tuned for more awesome Yu-Gi-Oh! Videos.